Originally built in the 12th century, Stirling Castle has been home to many wars and historical figures throughout the years. Because of this, it's been called a paranormal hotspot. Supposedly over 1,000 people a year report ghostly experiences, with the two most commonly seen entities being the Pink Lady and the Green Lady. The former is believed to be Mary Queen of Scots, whilst the latter is thought to be her servant. Another entity, meanwhile, is that of the unknown Highland soldier. One of the most interesting accounts revolving around this figure came in 1956, when a photographer visited Stirling early in the morning. Though nearly all of his shots came out clear, he was confused to find one contained a person, a surprise considering there was no one else at the castle except for a single sentry. Later, the photo was analysed by experts, who found no evidence of tampering or a double negative. Whether any of these entities are malicious remains unclear, but in the 1820s it was said that a sentry was found dead in the governor's room, the reason behind his death unknown. What was noticed, however, was the sheer look of terror on his face. Such intense paranormal activity has attracted interest from many parapsychologists. One in particular was Tony Cornell, who decided on an overnight surveillance of one of the most haunted rooms in the castle. Whilst nothing was caught visually, a number of unidentified sounds were heard, many of which sound like screaming. Is it possible then that these screams are echoes from the castle's terrible past, or the cries of spirits trapped in our world? Born in 1957, Jeannie was the last born of her parents' 4 children, the first 2 of whom died. After her grandmother died in a car accident, her father, who shared a strange relationship with his mother, had a further breakdown after years of instability, and moved his family to her isolated cabin. Here he confined Jeannie upstairs whilst the rest of the family slept downstairs, routinely leaving her on the toilet in a makeshift harness for around 13 hours, before placing her in a crib with a metal screen cover. If she ever made a noise during this time, her father either beat her, acted like a dog, or grew his fingernails out to scratch her. Besides this, Jeannie was fed as little as possible, whilst her room was kept extremely dark, with the only available stimuli being the crib, limited furniture and 2 plastic rain jackets. Jeannie's mother and brother, meanwhile, were often beaten as well, with the rule that they were forbidden from leaving the house. To ensure their obedience, her father remained equipped with a shotgun at all times. However, when Jeannie was around 13 years old, her mother demanded she be allowed to call her parents, to which her father eventually relented. 3 weeks later, she decided to apply for disability benefits for her partial blindness, but due to her condition, accidentally entered the social services next door. When the social worker noticed Jeannie's malnourished appearance, and then discovered her age, she immediately called the police. Her parents were thus arrested while she was sent to a children's hospital under the care of physician James Ken. He later commented his initial examination of Jeannie revealed the most severe case of child abuse he ever encountered. Most simply put, she was both mute and somewhat feral, with the mental age of a 13-month-old child. One of the many symptoms of this was extremely weak motor skills. These unstable movements led to Jeannie's characteristic bunny walk filmed here. The footage has been noted for its depiction of an entirely damaged child. Despite all her many troubles, however, Jeannie slowly improved and briefly reunited with her mother every week, whilst her father committed suicide before he could be tried. It should be noted though that she never overcame all her problems, nor was her life perfect. For the majority of time spent in and out of hospital, she was treated more like a test subject than a child. Whilst after Jeannie left her primary foster parents, she was placed into the hands of a number of abusive carers, before finally being removed. Nowadays, she lives within an unknown location in state care, seemingly quite happy. An independent filmmaker, Daniel Hobbit had long been determined to capture the existence of the paranormal on tape. To achieve this, he and alleged psychic Noni Fagat travelled around haunted locations for free of charge, but never caught clear evidence. Then in September 1989, he was contacted by the Morpax couple in California, who claimed to have experienced a number of strange events. These included the usual hallmarks, such as strange smells, disembodied voices or crying, and doors opening and closing. Interestingly, nearly all of this activity emanated from the couple's guest bedroom, of which they both refused to enter. As such, Hobbit entered this hotspot and immediately felt a person stood beside him, before he was suddenly compelled by an unknown force to focus on a particular painting. At this moment, a mysterious black apparition started to form in the corner of the room. Hobbit's resulting footage has been credited for the capture of the ghost reflection, a rarely seen phenomenon. Whilst the shadow mass remains unidentified, the couple later told him that the painting he felt compelled to look at was bought by the wife's late mother. In 1938, plans were drawn up to construct a facility for children with mental disabilities on Staten Island, but it wasn't until 1947 that Willowbrook was established. However, almost immediately after, it was struck by trouble, with outbreaks of hepatitis increasingly common. As a result, controversial medical studies were carried out for the next 20 years, in which subjects were monitored to test the disease's effects. Eventually though, public outcry meant the research was forced to shut down, based on accusations that the residents were treated like guinea pigs. Later the experiments were labelled as some of the most unethical to ever be performed on children in the US. Still, despite this, the children's poor treatment continued, leading to a number of investigations from media personalities, child abuse activists, and even Senator Robert Kennedy. But it wasn't until 1972 that the true situation was finally depicted, when reporter Geraldo Rivera and his TV crew filmed these horrific scenes, uncovering instances of overcrowding, inadequate facilities, and severe physical and sexual abuse of the children by staff. Yet even with this coverage, it took another 15 years before Willowbrook was finally shut down. Rumours of what truly happened there remain, but the truth is likely to never come out.